Hello, it's Holly here from Virtually Priceless. Welcome to episode 15 of VPTV, where each week I share my tips around productivity and learnings from growing my business over the last 5.5 years. Today I want to share some information which I hope will be useful in helping you decide whether you should employ a permanent EA in your business or whether outsourcing to a VA might be a better option for you. When it comes to deciding you are finally ready to get some support in your business, I know that one of the hardest decisions can be whether to go via the employee or contractor route. Now, there's actually no right answer here. It really does entirely depend on your individual circumstances, what the long-term goals for your business are, and your financial position. There are many occasions on which I've advised either a potential client or a current client that they should think about taking on an employee, but it's not always the right move, and it certainly isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. When you are desperately in need of an extra pair of hands to take some tasks off your plate, it can feel very daunting to feel unsure about who you should be hiring. It's completely normal to feel reluctant to start the rigmarole involved in advertising and selecting a new employee. And hiring a virtual assistant could be a new concept for you, or perhaps you've experienced working with someone who wasn't quite the right fit previously. Before you can decide on the solution, you need to define the role and the responsibilities you want the person to have. To do this, you'll need to work through several key aspects, including consider the volume and nature of tasks you need help with and whether you require ongoing support versus project-based assistance. Consider the level of expertise required. Do you need someone who is highly skilled or experienced in a certain area? Will they be liaising with key stakeholders on your behalf or managing any other team members? And what are the regular tasks you want them to pick up, and is there potentially more you can hand over as you get to know them and understand their capabilities? If the tasks are ones you are already doing yourself, you'll have a good idea of how long they might take. But if your list comprises of items you never have time to get to, be realistic about how long these activities might take. Given these considerations, how many hours a week do you need support for? And how responsive do you need the person to be? If you want someone available at a moment's notice who is working set hours and solely focused on your organisation, an employee might be the right call. Think also about the flexibility you require the person to have. Will the workload fluctuate or be fairly consistent? Are there any seasonal demands to the role? Are there any specific projects that they'll be involved with where the workload can vary? Do you run events, which means there will be peaks and troughs in workload, or are they on a regular cycle which keeps the workload consistent? Do you see a need to scale up or down the level of support over the next 6 to 12 months? If you're anticipating high growth in your business, you might prefer to work with someone who can increase their hours over time rather than starting full-time from the outset. Or you might think the support required is going to be fairly consistent and perhaps only a couple of hours a day, which is unlikely to change. Cost is going to be a key driver in making your decision. If you take on an employee, not only will you have to factor in their actual salary, but you will also need to factor in other overheads such as pension, benefits, equipment, training, as well as paid time off for things like holiday and illness. The rates for a VA will be higher, but of course you don't have to factor in any of those additional costs, and you will likely be charged on an hourly or project basis. You will also only pay for the hours you use and can dial the support up and down as needed. So if the workload fluctuates or you're not sure when you'll be ready to commit to more hours, this could be a great solution for you. My final tip would be to think about the role you'd like the person to play in your business. Do you need a support partner who can help you with various aspects of running your business and provide advice and guidance, for example? Or is the role very task-driven and you only need them to focus on very specific areas? A VA is also a business owner in their own right, and their experience in running a business can prove really useful when it comes to support you with running yours, as they've experience of all the various aspects that will need your attention. So, if you're looking for someone who can hit the ground running, be flexible to your ever-changing needs, and understands what's involved in running a business, a VA would be a great option for you. But if you need someone who is available at a moment's notice, works set hours, and is solely focused on just your business, an employed EA could be a much better fit. So make certain you are clear on your specific needs, your budget and your long-term goals before you make a decision about which route to follow. And most importantly, make sure you consider who will be the right fit for your organisation's unique requirements. I hope this episode has been helpful. If you're still on the fence about who to hire or which route to go down, I'm always happy to have a chat and help you make that well-informed decision about what's right for you and your business. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you next week for episode 16.